to Love and Friendship. And I'm your host, Michael Koran. And did you press record? You're so good. This is Sarah Brett. We're gonna. Let's get you in. Okay. I'm gonna move over so you can move closer to me.
This is terrific.
Yeah.
And we just were discussing attachment styles, and we're just going to share some stories and talk about Abraham and Sarah.
So we'll connect it with Abraham and Sarah. So as you remember, those of you who have been following us avidly each week, Abraham has just heard from the Spirit, God. He's going to have a child from his body. And he goes home, and this is chapter 16. You can begin reading it, actually.
Okay. Sarai, Abram's wife, had no children, but she had a slave girl from Egypt named Hagar. Sarai said to Abram, "Look, the Lord has not allowed me to have children, so have sexual relations with my slave girl. If she has a child, maybe I can have my own family through her."
And that was a custom in those days. If you were barren, a wife could do that. And it would be like an adoption.
Abram did what Sarai said. It was after he had lived 10 years in Canaan that Sarai gave Hagar to her husband Abram as a wife. Abram had sexual relations with Hagar.
And in Hebrew, it's really clear. Abram goes into Hagar.
Okay.
I want to just make it very visual and very tactile. Yes.
And she became pregnant.
Yes.
When Hagar learned she was pregnant, she began to treat her mistress Sarai badly.
Yeah, she looked at her with contempt, is the literal Hebrew. You know, hi, I have a baby, and you know. It's not going to make things very good in the family.
Sarai's,
so that's the glance, as you were talking about.
You know what, that look a lot of women give other women.
Yes.
He's mine. Yeah.
Yes, so you know this.
Women know this glance they get from other women.
I never heard about this.
Oh yeah, the look.
Can you give me that look? Can you do it?
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
It's this.
Wow. Wow.
It lasts for about, 3 to 5 seconds.
Wow. So what do you do when you feel that?
You just know to stay away from that female.
Oh. Wow.
You know that a friendship with that female is out of the question.
Wow. I didn't know that. Oh my. But you can still stay interested in the man, right? Even though she wants you to, or
you can. You know what? You can appreciate the man, and I think you understand where the woman's coming from.
So
but never to have a close friendship.
Oh, with her. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But she's probably trying to scare you away.
Yeah. So very common.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's live and learn.
Yes.
So listen, this show is giving you crucial information that if you're like me, even at 78, I never knew. What do guys do? I don't know. Hit each other? What do guys do?
Maybe stand in front of each other. It might be more of a physical thing.
Have I done anything? I'm so out of it. Let's see. Michael Mack might know, but I don't know what guys do. Do I? I don't know. But I'll keep going. Let's see what women do.
Then Sarai said to Abram, "This is your fault. I gave my slave girl to you, and when she became pregnant, she began to treat me badly. Let the Lord decide who is right, you or me." So Sarai's bringing it right up, going to her husband and saying, "Fix this."
Yes, wow.
And the Lord will decide who is right. But Abram said to Sarai, "You are Hagar's mistress. Do anything you want to her."
Whoa. And in the Hebrew it's literal. She's in your hands.
She's in your hands.
And then, what happens next?
Then Sarai was hard on Hagar, and Hagar ran away.
Yes, Sarah beat Hagar with her hands. Okay, so we're talking. We'll stop there. What do you feel and think about this? If you were, why don't you be both? You can at least be Hagar and Sarah at Sarai then. Tell me what you feel and think.
I am very disappointed in Abram right now.
In Abram?
I think he could have been the peacemaker, and his wife did such a giving thing, saying, "Go get pregnant with my slave woman, and let's have a family together, make this work."
Yes. And so you're disappointed that he said to her, "She's in your hand," and didn't even notice what was going on in the book.
Didn't notice what was going on.
The glance.
Didn't pick up on the glance.
Didn't pick up on the glance.
And then he didn't go over to Hagar himself and say, "Let's all just work together as a family." I think he could have really.
Very nice.
I feel like he really could have prevented this, and then instead he tells Sarai, "Do anything you want." I mean,
and she's in your hands. He's really letting Sarai hit this woman who's pregnant with his child.
It's not good.
And he's been wanting a child for so long.
Right, and Sarai
and lets her.
Yeah.
And lets her run away. And if you were Hagar, what would this scene even look like to you? If we can imagine it, if this is a scene that we can try and travel back to. If you're being hit, here you were, although you were looking at your mistress with contempt. I mean, if you're giving your mistress the glance, what do you expect?
Yeah. And who knows what other things Hagar did.
But the big thing was the glance.
The big thing was the look, yeah.
The loose translations looked at Sarai with contempt. I have a baby and you don't. And she's a slave. That must be.
Instead of, "Thank you for allowing me."
Yes.
This.
People are people, right? People are. I mean, one great philosopher, Nietzsche, said, if you want to find out how people ought to behave, you can read the New Testament. You know, love your neighbor as yourself. If you want to find out how people do behave, read the Hebrew Bible. So this is how people behave.
Right.
People have the glance.
Yeah.
So how do you feel if you're Hagar? You've given the glance. Sarah beats you and you're pregnant. How do you feel? What do you think? What do you say, do?
I'm very conflicted because I realize I made a mistake by giving the glance that Sarai is going to be part of the family. I mean, she's married to the father of my future child.
Yes.
You know, it's not the situation. She's not going to go anywhere. And I do have to either remove myself from the situation or go back and really make peace.
And she removed.
She took off.
Didn't say, "I'm sorry."
I can totally relate to that. I think she's processing, and at that point, all she can really do is run.
And she runs alone into an unknown place. Yes, it would be like going to Worcester, dangerous, or more than that.
In the desert, where who knows what, you know.
Yes, nowhere. So, and does she think she caused it? She probably was really scared, yes?
Right.
For her child as well as herself. And if you're Sarai, what do you feel after you beat her? Or while you're beating her? This is the child that Sarai wanted too, right?
I have to believe Sarai she was following the orders of her husband, Hagar, but, I'm sorry, she was following the orders of Abram, but I have to believe while she's doing this and after she did it, she felt pretty terribly.
Oh my, You just got those feelings out. Now I have a desire. All that you say is true. And in the Hebrew tradition, there are many levels of interpreting what goes on. There's the literal level, which you did so beautifully. Then there's also a more divine level of understanding things. Can we, in any way, have a perspective that would see Abram and Sarai and even Hagar better? Oh, it comes. I think I know the answer to this. What's going to happen? We'll be here for now. Maybe you should read on.
Okay. The angel of the Lord found Hagar beside a spring of water in the desert, by the road to Shur, a location in southern Canaan. Canaan. The angel said, Hagar, Sarai's slave girl, where have you come from? Where are you going? Hagar answered, I am running away from my mistress Sarai. The angel of the Lord said to her, go home to your mistress and obey her.
Wow.
The angel of the Lord also said, I will give you so many descendants, they cannot be counted.
Whoa, so she's getting, even though the scene is hard, as Joe would say, if it's here, the promise is huge. So would you go back? Would you? Geez, would I?
The angel added, you are now pregnant and you will have a son. You will name him Ishmael, because the Lord has heard your cries. Ishmael will be like a wild donkey. He will be against everyone, and everyone will be against him. He will attack all of his brothers.
Well, because he was so hit when he was in the womb, maybe.
The slave girl gave a name to the Lord who spoke to her. You are God who sees me, because she said to herself, have I really seen God who sees me?
So this is the first woman since Eve. I'm not even sure Eve did. This is a woman who has an encounter with an angel of God, and through the angel she can feel God, and gives God a name. Good for you. You are in touch with divinity. It was such a hard time. We've discussed that in the previous, right? If you're really going through a hard time and you're breaking up, then the light can come through the broken places. The deep light inside that's hard for us to get to. You break up enough and you can feel it to help you get together. And so you did it, Hagar. You and called this, whatever this experience is, this spirit coming out of you, or this, the great creative spirit of the world or universe, you gave it a name. And what was the name again?
Ishmael.
No, that was the name of the son.
The name of the spirit.
Was called. You are God who sees me.
Or Elroy.
Yes, so she gives a new name to the great creative spirit, and it might help if you were God. How would you feel?
I would be very pleased, right? For someone else honoring me and calling me.
And saying to me, "Oh, I see things." It might help me remember to see people. My new name. I'm not just hanging out there.
You know what? That's such a good point. It's God who really sees me. It's a reminder. We all can see different parts of people if we look a little harder.
And God, and maybe the God in them. And the God in them can see us. Well, wouldn't that be nice?
That would be very nice. I know you said last time it's so important for you to see the God in everyone.
I need to. In nonviolent communication, the number one guideline for communication is first tune into the beloved divine energy flowing. between us if we can. First in ourselves, and then see if we can find it in. And they don't say that in other. There's another great book called Difficult Conversations, but they don't go there at all. This, I love divine, nonviolent communication for that. He calls it beloved divine energy. Feel it flow. And maybe, because Hagar's going to go back now.
Hagar gave birth to a son for Abram, and Abram named him Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar gave birth to Ishmael.
And I've said in previous shows, to make sense for us, we can divide these years by 2. He's 43. Is that how old you are? Right, so this is right on. Wow. So there's still hope for a child. You never know.
You never know.
Wow. That'll be the end of having you have time to be on the show. So maybe through all the difficulty, I like to think the messenger that was sent, the translation of angel is really in Hebrew messenger, could have been from Abram. Because the messenger knew Hagar's name and gave her, I guess, good advice to go back and submit. And I think there's no mention of her getting hit again. This might have been a creative, ingenious way to solve a very difficult problem. It might have been helpful for Abram. Don't forget, Hagar was younger, so she could run faster, and she was strong. For Abram to let Sarai get it out. If he had intervened and said, okay, I want you guys to get along together, that might not have been enough, maybe. Sometimes you have to do bad things to get to a better place.
I totally agree with that.
Get it out. So maybe it was a stroke of genius.
Right.
I'd like to look at it that way too. I mean, your way is for sure a very down-to-earth way. And they all got on for quite a while. We'll see what happens next time.
And in a way, by him just taking care of the situation,
yes,
it doesn't empower Sarai or Hagar. So in this way, he just stepped away and said, you work it out.
yeah.
So maybe that is, that is a way of looking at it.
I love God having a new name, El Ra. Seeing that, wouldn't that be great? I don't know if you believe this, that there's a creative spirit that sees you, and Ishmael's name means God hears and hears when we cry. I mean, Joe believes that for sure. I believe. I need to be reminded of that. That there is a energy in the world that sees me and hears me. You're too young for this. There was before you were born, there was a great album called Tommy and the Who. Did you ever hear of that? See me, hear me, touch me. And in this story, there is a creative energy, maybe in people and through people, that sees, hears, and touches us. Wouldn't that be nice? I need all the help I can get, so I have to say most mornings, God help me, but I might change it. God hear me. God see me.
Yeah,
Wow.
I like that.
I like that.
I like that. That's nice.
Oh, so
It's more specific.
So everybody grows. Abram, Sarai, Hagar, Ishmael gets born, and God. Happy, happy. Now, I'm going to start, I don't know if I can get it, the story about how my brother and his wife met. Maybe it's related to this, maybe not, you'll tell me. So, Elise is living in Brookline. She buys a condo on the first floor because for her old age she wants to be able to get into it. She's 40, about 46, planning ahead. You understand that? And then she has a friend who says, you should get on to Zeus, what was it called, yours? Okay, Cupid. And Elise said, well, if I date, I'm going to have to buy a new dress, and it's going to be expensive, and maybe he won't like me, and maybe I won't like him, and I've got all this expense and all this expectation. I don't really think I'm ready. And her friend said, no, I don't think you're ready. So 2 years later, her friend suggested it again. Okay, Cupid. And Elise got on and someone was answering her who lived in the middle of Massachusetts, and they started emailing. And the man started correcting her grammar and punctuation. And she said, this is not for me. This email back and forth. And so that was the end of that. And she put in her radius 60 miles from Brookline on Beacon Street. And didn't get anyone else she was interested in. But she visited her friend in Arlington, the Arlington Center. So, and they put in 60 miles. And they just got Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And there was a psychiatrist who had just been divorced for the second time, who was looking to meet someone. And she said, okay, she was a psychologist, PhD, I'll try. Buys her new dress, goes to meet at the Charles Hotel. They're supposed to meet at 5. She waits till 6. She's really hurt, like Sarai in our story. She thinks it was a walk-by, what that is. Oh, you know, she's Sarah's. Yep. She goes home.
That's what guides do,
Yes.
the walk by.
Yes, she goes home. She's so sad. Gets a phone call. Hi! Like my clueless brother. Sorry, I'm late. Let's get together. Come on down. She says, I'm not going to the Charles Hotel again. He says, okay, I'll come by. Stranger. And she lets him. He comes by. They talk for 3 hours. She's only thinking of one thing during the 3 hours, which is
she hungry? Is she... That's a good question. What is she thinking about for 3 hours?
how can I not get angry at this man? How can I not yell at him like we just read, or beat him?
But was she happy with the conversation?
That was okay.
Yeah.
Not, you know, my brother's not, it's not his strength. So he says goodbye, calls her the next week. Hey, I've got some tickets in Portland to see a play called Blind Spirit. It's about actually a man who had 3 wives. My brother had already had 2. Would you like to go see it? And she says, well, I'll think about it. She goes to Yom Kippur services, which are for the Jews' Days of Atonement. And the rabbi says, not only should we ask God for forgiveness, we should also forgive one another. And she says, okay, damn it, I'll forgive him. I'll go on a date. And they go on the date. It's a date about a man who had the first wife who dies, he marries a second one. The first wife is a spirit in the basement. And he goes down and talks to her. Second wife does not, as you know, does not like this. Really doesn't like this. And the spirit eventually moves the ex-wife to go into a car, and there's a car crash, and the second wife dies.
Whoa.
And the man had lost 2 wives, And this is the plague you see.
Wow.
And then he marries again and goes to the basement and talks to the second one. Jesus Christ. So this is what they see. It's a lovely plague. They go out to eat, and for some reason she feels like she must put her hand on his while they're eating. He takes her to his home in Portsmouth, says, "You can sleep in my daughter's room, she's not here tonight." And he respectfully lets her sleep, doesn't bother her. In the morning, she hears him flush the toilet about 6 in the morning and says, "Would you like a hug?" And that's how they got together and eventually got married, happily ever after. She said 10 years after the marriage, for her birthday, "I know this can't be, but I'd love life to just keep going on the way it is now."
Oh, that's very nice.
So, that's our happy story.
Wow.
And we're going to take a break in about 30 seconds, and we'll be back for part 2 of Abram and Sarah. Any last feelings and thoughts?
Forgiveness is a powerful thing, and it opens up opportunity.
I guess that's what happened between Abram and Sarah and Hagar too.
Yeah, definitely.
They forgave each other, all of them. All of them.
It does ultimately simplify things, making peace.
Well,
Inner peace first.
Yep. Well, on that happy note, we'll see you in 3